Alright, what's going on, guys? This is Restless Corpse from Virtual Bromance. I'm doing another episode of A Console Gamer in PC Land. As you can see, again, I'm playing Battlefield 3. I'm playing Team Deathmatch on Noshahr Canals. I don't generally like game modes like Team Deathmatch, even like Call of Duty, things like that. I like more objective-based games, but in the interest of training my aim with a mouse and keyboard and whatnot, I figured a fast-paced game like this would do me a little bit of good. I actually didn't do all that bad. I came out a little bit more positive on the kill-death ratio than I thought I would, which surprised me, especially in a game mode like this. I figured, there would just be people everywhere and I would be spawn killed and whatnot, but it didn't happen. I did a lot better than I thought I did. My aim was a little bit more spot on. Right here you can see I hesitated to shoot that guy, and ultimately he got me. But I mean, the shotgun, it's gonna happen. But speaking of that, I tend to, with a mouse and keyboard, wait a little bit to line up a shot. I don't fire as early as I would on the console, and it gets me killed a lot, as you'll see a couple more times in this match. But while it's running here, I just and obviously I'm not doing a live comm this time because I wanted to concentrate. But I want to talk about the differences in the versions, unlike I did last time. This time, the difference in the versions which make me like the PC better, I guess, and I know that's kind of blasphemy coming from me. I don't know if any of my friends are going to be watching this video. They'll know that I'm always been a diehard console guy and have defended it to the ends of the earth. But as you can see from the movement while I'm running through these shipping containers, and all you PC guys are going to be like, so what? But the game is just like a hell of a lot more fluid. I can't really say much. Like the graphics don't look that different, honestly. I play on 1080p regardless. For my Xbox, I use a 32-inch HD TV with 1080p, and on my PC, I use the same TV sitting next to it. I have two of them, and I use that as a computer monitor. So the graphics look basically the same. Sure, they're a tiny bit better on the PC. It's not nearly as crazy better as everybody's told me it's always going to be, but despite the graphics not being that much different, the game itself plays a shit ton smoother. I mean, I have my sensitivity on this maybe 2/3 of the way up, and it's absolutely perfect for me. At least in terms of like moving around. Maybe I should turn it down just a tad for aiming, but like I said, I haven't done a whole lot of practicing. But what I want to get into with this series is maybe putting out a video every day or every other day at least, so we can see like my progression and how I play on PC. But getting back to the topic, I also, and again, it doesn't really come into play on this Team Deathmatch, but again, I really do like the fact that the matches are just so much bigger. But I'm not going to talk too much about that because I talked about that in the last video. But that's just one of the reasons that I like the PC game better. I also like the readouts that you see in the top corner, and when somebody kills somebody. I guess those are I don't know, maybe somebody can tell me, are those custom messages that the server sets up? Because some of them are pretty funny. I have not really, I played several matches earlier today, several Rush matches, Rush being my favorite mode. It's always been my favorite mode since Bad Company, which is when I started playing Battlefield. Again, because I like objective-based games, and Conquest mode is great because it is an objective-based game, but the reason I like Rush mode more is because all the fighting seems more centralized. When you're playing Conquest, the fighting is all over the map. I mean, there's generally some fighting going on in every flag, or at least most of them. depending on how the battlefront's moving up. But with Rush, the defending team, with the exception of some people who want to take the initiative and go out and kill the attackers before they even get to the base, a lot of the fighting happens at the bases, and that's what I like. A big problem with team deathmatches for me is when your team is pushing up and you're doing well and you're killing lots of dudes and you're pushing the battlefront up. They start, because of the nature of team deathmatches spawning, eventually they'll end up spawning behind you, and it just screws up your whole tactics. You shouldn't need half your team looking behind you, and at least not in a battlefield type game. So I like Rush because even as a defender, it's not like I like Rush because when you're an attacker, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. But even as defenders, the defenders generally know where the attackers are coming from, and it can be fun that way. You don't generally have to worry about people coming up behind you and whatnot. You can just focus on the actual fight. I mean, like I always say, exceptions happen. People skirt around the map or get their team into a good position behind the enemy and keep spawning back there, and those are all valid tactics. It just doesn't seem to happen as much on Rush, at least not on the consoles. Remember, I'm a console gamer, so when I'm talking about like an opinion or a strategy like that, it's a strategy that I use on the console. Again, playing on PC is not completely different, but there are tons of differences. Right here, I should have had that guy, and I would have had I had a controller in my hand, but like I said before in the other video, I refuse to go to the controller because I know that the mouse and keyboard is a superior way to play, and I want to learn it, and that's what this series is all about. But anyway, and I also kind of want to talk about this map. I've been a big fan of this map since Battlefield 3 came out, definitely for Rush, but for Conquest. Even though I say I like Rush better, this is a really great Conquest map. I just like how there's some places that are open for fighting, and even on the Team Deathmatch, the size of this map still has that, like up by the trains. There's open areas, there's close quarters areas, like in the train cars, the little maze. There's the long corridor style fighting over by the coast, by the warehouses and stuff. It's just a really good map. And Battlefield 3 is probably one of the only games that I've ever played where I like at least 90% of the maps. I know that when Aftermath came out, Marquez Monolith was like the go-to map. That's anytime you wanted to find a match, Marquez Monolith was the one that was always filled. And now that Endgame is out, and I really like the Endgame maps. I played a bunch of those earlier today. I love like all of the maps, except for maybe one or two that I can't really remember right now because I obviously don't play them a whole lot. I even like some of the close quarters maps. They're fun and they're frantic, and you get into really nice firefights that, surprisingly, because this is not Call of Duty, don't end in a noob tube. That's something that Providence and I always joke about, is even when we're playing Call of Duty, if we get into a gunfight with a dude and we ultimately lose, but it's not because we got noob tube, we're like, oh man, that was pretty awesome. We got into a gunfight that didn't end in noob tube, But I've actually been sitting here just talking nonstop and not paying attention to what's going on, so I'm not sure. That's a prime example right there. I know I almost had him. Maybe another bullet, maybe two would have taken him down. I'm not sure why I didn't get him, because I saw him first. I think I started firing first. It's just my accuracy, I guess. A lot of times I'll start firing above them or over their shoulder before I can pull it in and get the shots like hitting them. Another thing I want to bring up is my like horizontal level of shooting. It's as you've probably seen, I never really go for the head, and that's because in consoles with a controller the control, like the recoil of the weapon seems to be maybe a little bit more. Maybe it's the same, it's just the way the weapons act. If you aim like toward the upper body, generally the recoil from the weapon will bring it up to the face. And I have not noticed that on PC. I'll start firing in the body, and I know there's recoil, but maybe it's just the way that I hold the mouse that keeps the recoil from going up that high, and it's really detrimental to my playstyle, so I'm trying to adapt. Maybe I have a skewed I have a skewed perception of where head level is when there's nobody on screen. I don't know, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here. And once again, if you like what I'm doing here, if you understand the plight of the console gamer and the PC world, let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe. There's going to be a bunch more of these videos. Again, I'm not trying, this is not like a guide or anything. This is not how to play on PC. This is not some kind of video where I think I'm some kind of badass and I'm showing off or anything. I mean, the nature of the video suggests that obviously I know that I need a lot of improvement. And again, if anybody's got tips, tricks, strategies, things that they do, things that I should know that, you know, are common sense for PC gamers that I'm not doing, go ahead and let me know in the comments, send me a message, like and subscribe the video, because it does help out, and it shows me that people actually care about what I'm doing here. And I will see you guys in the next episode, probably in a couple days.